Imagine working 30 years. Every paycheck, money gets taken out for your pension. You're promised a secure retirement. You're told your money is safe, invested wisely, managed by experts. Then one day, you retire and discover your pension fund is empty. The money's gone. But the people who managed it? They're billionaires. This isn't a hypothetical. This is happening right now across America. Pension funds holding trillions of dollars in workers' retirement savings are being gambled away by hedge funds and private equity firms. And when the bets go bad, workers lose everything. When the bets pay off, Wall Street keeps the profits. This is the greatest wealth transfer you've never heard about. And today, you're going to learn how Wall Street turned your retirement into their casino. Right now, American pension funds are underfunded by over $1.3 trillion. That's not a typo. Trillion. With a T. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, nurses, millions of public workers are owed pensions that don't have the money to pay them. How did this happen? The official story is simple. People are living longer, investment returns are lower, governments didn't contribute enough. It's a demographic problem. An actuarial miscalculation. Nobody's fault. That's a lie. The truth is much simpler. Wall Street looted the pension funds, and they did it with the blessing of pension fund managers who were either incompetent or corrupt, often both. It started in the 1990s. Pension funds traditionally invested in safe, boring assets, government bonds, blue-chip stocks, real estate. The returns were modest but reliable, 6 to 8% annually, enough to pay retirees what they were promised. Then Wall Street showed up with a better idea. Hedge funds and private equity firms made a pitch. We can get you 15%, 20%, even 30% returns. Way better than bonds. You'll make so much money, you'll never have to worry about funding again. There was just one catch: fees. Hedge funds charge 2 and 20, a 2% annual management fee plus 20% of all profits. Private equity charges similar rates, plus additional transaction fees, monitoring fees, and expenses that can push total fees above 7% annually. But pension fund managers didn't care about fees. They cared about the promise of massive returns, so they started handing over workers' retirement savings to Wall Street. Billions at first, then hundreds of billions. Now over $1 trillion in pension money is invested in alternative investments, hedge funds, private equity, and other high-fee, high-risk strategies. And Wall Street got exactly what they wanted: guaranteed fees regardless of performance. Here's how the scam works. A pension fund gives $100 million to a hedge fund. The hedge fund charges 2% up front. That's $2 million in fees before they've made a single investment. Year 1. The hedge fund makes risky bets. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. Let's say they make 10% that year. The fund is now worth $110 million, but the hedge fund takes 20% of those gains. $2 million more. So the pension gets back $108 million, an 8% return, which sounds good. But wait, after paying the 2% management fee, the net return to the pension is actually 6%. The same return they would have gotten from boring, safe investments, except with way more risk. And when the hedge fund loses money, the pension absorbs the entire loss. The hedge fund still collects its 2% management fee. They get paid whether they win or lose. Over time, these fees compound. Studies show that after fees, the average pension fund invested in hedge funds would have been better off putting the money in a basic index fund. The fees eat up all the excess returns, sometimes more. But here's the truly insane part. Most pension fund managers don't even know how much they're paying in fees. Private equity firms bury fees in complex legal documents. They charge portfolio companies directly, so the fees don't show up in pension statements. Independent studies estimate the real fees are 2 to 3 times higher than what pension funds report. Workers are being robbed blind, and they don't even know it. The California Public Employees Retirement System, CalPERS, is the largest public pension fund in America. $450 billion in assets. It covers over 2 million current and retired government workers. In 2000, CalPERS had more money than it needed. It was over 100% funded. Every pension was guaranteed. Workers could retire in peace. Then CalPERS started investing in alternative investments, hedge funds, private equity, real estate deals structured by Wall Street. The promise? Higher returns to justify pension increases and lower government contributions. 20 years later, CalPERS is only 70% funded. It's missing $160 billion. And where did that money go? Largely to Wall Street fees and failed bets. One example. CalPERS invested $1 billion in a private equity fund run by Apollo Global Management. The fund bought a grocery chain, loaded it with debt, paid Apollo massive fees, and then the company went bankrupt. Apollo collected over $200 million in fees. CalPERS lost $600 million. But Apollo's founders, Leon Black, personally made over $10 billion during the years CalPERS was losing money with his firm. The wealth didn't disappear, it was transferred from workers' retirement accounts to billionaires' bank accounts. In Kentucky, the state pension system invested heavily in hedge funds, managed by a politically connected firm. The pitch was irresistible, guaranteed 12% annual returns. The pension board, desperate to close their funding gap, invested $1.5 billion. The hedge fund performed exactly as expected for the first few years. Returns came in at 12% like clockwork. The pension board congratulated themselves. They were geniuses. Then the truth came out. The returns weren't real. The hedge fund was running a Ponzi scheme, paying old investors with new money. When it collapsed, Kentucky's pension fund lost over $1 billion. Teachers and state workers who had spent decades paying into the system watched their retirement security evaporate. The hedge fund manager went to prison, but the money gone forever. And now Kentucky taxpayers are on the hook to make up the difference. Workers paid for their pensions. Wall Street stole them. And now taxpayers have to bail everyone out except the criminals. This is the final piece of the scam. When pension funds go broke, workers don't get their pensions. Governments have to step in. That means taxpayers cover the losses. Illinois owes $144 billion in unfunded pension obligations. New Jersey owes $200 billion. Across America, state and local governments owe over $1.3 trillion more than they have, and that bill is coming due. Taxes will go up, services will be cut, roads won't get fixed, schools won't get funded, all because pension money was gambled away by Wall Street and taxpayers have to cover the losses. The workers who paid into these pensions their entire careers, they get reduced benefits, later retirement ages, and years of anxiety about whether their pension will be there when they need it. The hedge fund managers who lost the money, they're still collecting their fees. They're still buying yachts and private jets. They're still getting richer. Here's the most damning evidence. A 2020 study analyzed 30 years of pension fund performance. Funds that invested heavily in hedge funds and private equity returned an average of 7.2% annually. Funds that stuck with simple, low-cost index funds returned 8.5% annually. The sophisticated Wall Street strategies underperformed basic index funds by a lot. After 3 decades, that difference compounds to billions in lost wealth. If pension funds had simply bought index funds and held them, almost every pension crisis in America would be solved. Workers would have their retirement security. Taxpayers wouldn't face massive bailouts. The only losers would be Wall Street fee collectors, but that would require pension fund managers to admit they were wrong, to admit they were sold a lie, to admit they gambled workers' money on strategies that enriched Wall Street and bankrupted pension funds. Millions of Americans spent their careers paying into pension systems. They followed the rules. They worked hard. They trusted that their retirement was secure. Wall Street saw an opportunity. Trillions of dollars in pension money managed by people who didn't understand finance, desperate for returns to cover promises politicians made. So they sold them complicated, high-fee investment strategies that were guaranteed to enrich Wall Street regardless of performance. Workers' retirement savings became Wall Street's fee-generating machine. And when the strategies failed, workers lost their security while hedge fund managers bought their third mansion. This is the greatest theft in American history, and it's happening in plain sight. Your pension might be next.